right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to talk about SoFi. Is this the best option that you got out there? Keep in mind that I've been using this account since 2018, so quite a few years. We're going to go over the best checking features, best savings, all the useful products and facts, the pros and cons of this organization, frequently asked questions, and what I will, if whether or not I would recommend it to my younger self, and of course, the personal takeaway. So, with all that being said, if you enjoyed this video and if you like this format, by the way, this is a new format that I'm testing. Let me know in the comments, like it, subscribe, and if SoFi is for you, there's going to be a link in the description that you can use to sign up with this organization. Now, here's personally how I ran into SoFi, right? Because this was like a few years ago at this point. The first time I heard of it, it was through a friend, and I decided to sign up, and I never had any problems with them. It's a growing company ever since I first started. So it's been growing steadily, personal, based on what I've noticed. And also it's somewhat new depending on how you look at it. If you're somebody that compares this organization to maybe a Goldman Sachs or maybe Citizens Bank, First Citizens Bank. Like these two are very old banks out there. So technically, quote unquote, SoFi, it's brand new. It originally started as a fintech, as far as I'm aware, but now they are a full bank as of a few years ago. And so that gives him a lot more credibility in my personal opinion. So overall, SoFi, it's a pretty good organization with mostly positive reviews online. Keep in mind that there's going to be satisfied and dissatisfied customers for any bank out there. There's no perfect organization, but like anything, so there are a few things that you must know in order to maximize your relationship and to make sure that you don't call customer service angry, wasting valuable time. So, with this being said, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly about SoFi in today's review. So the first thing we're going to be going over is actually the best checking features. So personally, these are the things that I would care about whenever I'm looking for a new financial hub, a new organization where I can put my hard-earned money. So a great feature that I believe is the early paycheck feature. So let's say that you get paid on a Friday, then SoFi will make your paycheck available 2 days early. So that's great. Of course, you get your money early. You can get and pay your bills and go shopping, whatever it is that you got to do, then you could do it straight from your paycheck. Now, another really cool thing that this organization offers is a interest rate on your checking account. Now, this is very different from what you may have experienced with another organization, maybe it's a credit union or Chase or Bank of America. For most people, for most average people like you and I, those organizations don't offer any type of interest with a checking account. You keep your money there, and that's as far as it goes, right? They don't give you any interest. Now, nowadays, there is the rise of these called cash management accounts. And cash management accounts are essentially one of the features that they have is checking account with interest rate. And that's exactly what SoFi is offering here. So 0.5%, it's not that high of an interest rate, but it's still a little bit much better than zero, right? So keep in mind that if you are somebody that doesn't have direct deposit, then you will get a 0.5% of interest on your checking account, which is actually not bad. Like just free money right there. And that's something to take into account. Now, when it comes to debit cards, now this organization does send you a debit card automatically in the mail. That's personally something that I experienced, and it only takes a couple of weeks. So you can either use it or not, then they're going to send you one automatically. Now, keep in mind that if you are somebody that does open a high yield savings account, for which details we'll get into here in a second, then they're gonna open a checking account automatically, and they're gonna send you a debit card automatically as well. And it will be up to you whether or not you use it as well, of course. Now, here's also another feature that SoFi has, and it could be a con or a pro depending on how you look at it. But in my book, it's a pro, right? Because they have a partnership with All Point Network, and that gives you access to almost like 55,000 participating ATMs worldwide. So definitely, if you're somebody that is always on the go or in travel, then this, of course, minimizes the potential fees that you could incur whenever you use a random ATM out there. So when it comes to ATM fees, of course, SoFi does not give you fees, but it does not reimburse any fees by third party. So, for example, if you are somebody that uses a local whatever ATM in your apartment building, whatever, then SoFi may not charge you fees, but then it doesn't mean that the owner of the ATM won't charge you fees. So just keep that in mind so that way you don't end up getting charged too many times for for ATM fees, right? So overall, those are the features that I will personally look into and care about whenever it comes to a checking account. So let me know in the comments, by the way, what you think so far and whether or not this would be an organization for you. Now, let's get into other details here when it comes to the savings, which may be the reason why you were considering SoFi to begin with because of the competitive APY. Now, I'm going to be blunt here and transparent. 3.8% is the interest that SoFi offers nowadays. Now, this is not the highest one out there, but it's still pretty good. And by the way, that is with direct deposit. So make sure that you meet those requirements. And the other thing is, and by the way, the direct deposit doesn't have a minimum balance. So the direct deposit technically could be like $1 or $2, whatever, and you would get the 3.8% APY. Now, that's just the tip of the iceberg because you could increase this. This is a limited offer, by the way. You could increase your 3.8% to 4% if you sign up with SoFi Plus membership. That's $10 a month. Of course, you have to do a little bit of math whether or not this is going to be worth it for you. Because if you're earning, let's say, $100, $200 per month on an extra 0.2%, then that makes sense to invest $10 to get that much more, right? So keep in mind, this is an extra 0.2% up to 6 months. So if the interest rate comes down to, let's say, 3.6, then the interest that you will get will be 3.8. So this is important to understand because you're not locked into 4.0. The bonus is not that you get a 4.0%, you get an extra. This is the link that I accidentally copied, but these are just the additional benefits of SoFi Plus. So you can screenshot this. But here's the thing. You get an extra 0.2% on whatever interest it is that SoFi offers. So keep it in mind. Well, let me know what you think so far, by the way. All right. So with respect to any bonuses, so if you are a new client, if you are signing up with SoFi, then one thing that you can definitely take advantage of, and this could be a deal maker or breaker, it's the $325 bonus that you could earn with SoFi as long as you deposit $5,000 direct deposit in 1 month. So it's $300 for everybody out there. And if you do happen to use the link in the description, then you get an extra $25. Now, this is a limited offer. It's not going to be there forever. It's going to end soon. If you want to get the extra $25, make sure that you check the link in the description. Or you would earn $50 if your direct deposit is between $1,000 and $4,099. Certainly, when it comes to bonuses, this is one of the highest ones that I've seen out there, and I see these a lot. There's a few other ones that offer like 450, like those are like wild some bonuses, but it just makes me wonder sometimes when the incentive is too high, it almost gives me a red flag, right? So, but let me know what you think, by the way, about that approach. So, no minimum deposit, no monthly fees, just like with the checking account, of course. It does have insurance up to $3 million. So you might be wondering, $3 million, that's a lot of money. Like, how can they make that happen? What I've seen generally is banks offer up to $250K. Well, they are able to provide this much FDIC insurance by leveraging a network of partner banks. So that's how they're able to insure you up to $3 million. But let's say it's safe to say that most people, like you and I, are going to be okay with a $250,000 FDIC insurance, right? But if you have that money, then the option is there. Now, another really cool thing about SoFi, it's they're relatively fast, in a way, transfer window. I froze there for a second. But it takes about 1 to 3 business days for average standard banks to make your transfer happen. Now, I've seen some very happy customers that leave comments in my videos saying that SoFi is pretty fast, that it takes less than 3 business days. quite honestly, that's also been my experience. So I think what they do here is they give you an average timeline, so that way they don't make too big of a promises. They want to under promise and over deliver in a way, so that way you're not calling customer service after a couple of hours saying, "Where's my transfer?" Right? So 1 to 3 business days average. Usually, in my experience, it takes only a couple of hours. But of course, keep in mind this is going to depend how old your account is, how much you're transferring, and where is the transfer coming from or where it's going. And so all of those things are taken into account when it comes to transferring your hard-earned money. When it comes to access, of course, the bank transfer, direct deposit, you can do wire transfers, which are also free, by the way, and the ATM. Now they also have Dell, which is a really cool feature in case you are interested in fast transfers or fast payments to maybe a family member or whatever. Maybe you're just making a payment. So all of those really cool things so far with SoFi, or maybe cost, depending on what your experience has been with other organizations. And if you are a current SoFi customer watching this video, I would love to know your take, by the way. Let me know in the comments. So withdrawal frequency, it's unlimited. Some banks out there are restating the 6 withdrawal limit for their high yield savings account customers. Now, this limit was set by the Federal Reserve back until April 2020. And we all know what happened in 2020. So the Fed said, hey, banks, don't worry about the limit and just let people take the money. And many banks then started giving unlimited withdrawals from savings accounts. But now they're kind of slowly getting back on track and getting back into putting that 6 withdrawal limit per month. So if you are somebody that uses your savings as a set and forget it, then most likely you will be okay with this type of quote unquote limit. Now, they do have human customer service available, and here's a screenshot on how you can earn 4.0%. Now, keep in mind that you can only sign up for this, I believe, is until August 12th, if I'm not mistaken. I'm actually going to double check here, and this is important to look at the footprint so let's see what it says right here. So earn up to 4.0% annual percentage yield, SoFi savings with a point for up to 6 months. And you got to sign up, you got to enroll in SoFi Plus by 8/12 right here, right? So by August 12th. So it's a limited time offer, so make sure that you take advantage of that. All right, so with that being said, my friends, let's go over other useful products and facts that SoFi does offer. It's almost like it's becoming almost like a Target, a Walmart of banking, right? They have a ton of products out there, almost like for every walk of life. For example, they offer loans, student loans, they offer mortgages. They also offer investing. And this is something that I mentioned previously, how their checking account acts almost like a cash management account in a way. And a cash management account allows you to make investments in the stock market. So if you're somebody that wants to buy the dip, then you can immediately make that happen. You don't have to wait for any transfers from bank to bank. So that's, of course, very, very helpful if you have the disposable income to start making investments. And they also have credit cards. They have cashback credit cards and also credit builders. If you're somebody that is working on your credit and little by little you're getting back on track, then they do have that option as well as I believe 2% and 3% cashback credit cards, depending on exactly it is that you need. So there you go. So these are the different type of credit cards that they offer, and a credit card that helps you build credit with no annual fee and no surprises. So no annual fees on the credit cards, also, of course, a good feature. Now, when it comes to insurance, they do have life insurance, that is. Now, I want to share with you here a quick experience because so I signed up with life insurance with my wife a couple of years ago. We are very happy with what we did, our decision. It's great. Life insurance for any parents out there, you need it, okay? For you and your family, make sure you are taken care of financially in case something bad happens. Now, knowing this, I went onto SoFi and I decided to, let me see if this is an honest system. So I decided to go through the process of signing up for life insurance, and I wanted to see whether or not it would tell me to sign up with life insurance or not based on my current situation as somebody who was already protected, right? So when I went through this case study of signing up for life insurance. It was asking me for how much debt I had. It was asking me for my net worth. It was asking me for how many kids I had, whether or not I was married, blah, blah. And it also asked me whether or not I already had coverage, life insurance with somebody else. So when I went through all the questions, technically I don't need any more life insurance, right? So to my surprise, I was expecting SoFi to tell me, oh, you still need life insurance for like this scenario, blah, blah. But the results show that I didn't need life insurance. The screen told me after you go through this series of questions, it tells you, it seems like you're covered for now. You don't need this service. So thank you. Have a good day. So to me, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. So that right there gives you an honest assessment in a way on whether or not you are somebody that would need life insurance. So that's been my experience. Let me know if you or somebody else has had a different one. So it goes you through it walks you through an assessment and lets you know whether or not you need life insurance. All right, so it also provides estate planning for you and your family. Now, overall reviews from a couple of organizations that are very famous for doing these reviews professionally. So NerdWallet gives it a 4.9 overall as a bank rate of 4.5. And originally, this was established back in 2012 and actually 11 apparently in Stanford, California. So right here, it's a screenshot from the website itself. So here's the pros and cons, right? Let's start putting things in perspective here when it comes to this organization. So pros, competitive APY, 4.8% up to, and it could also be up to 4.0% with SoFi Plus. And also a new account bonus. It's pretty high, up to $325. Of course, you got to meet the requirements. No minimum deposit, no monthly fees, insurance up to $3 million. And good tools for checking and savings. It also has buckets or vaults with each savings account. Most banks offer that nowadays, and it also gives you investing options and many more services. Now, some of the cons is the fact that, hey, you do need direct deposit to get the APY. It can be a bit complicated to understand all the terms and conditions to get additional perks. Like they have, as I mentioned, so many products, but I try to distill the information as much as I can here so that way you can make the best decision for yourself. And it's fully online, right? There's no branch access. And of course, this is going to be a pro or a con depending on how you bank yourself. But I want to say that the target audience for SoFi is like Gen Z, millennials. Most likely, I want to say that these two generations are a little bit more comfortable with online banking out there. So before I give you my final assessment on whether or not this is an organization that I will personally recommend to my younger self, if SoFi fails, then if any bank fails, not just SoFi, it will usually be bought by another organization. And if no one buys the bank, then the FDIC will then step in and write you a check to make sure that you are covered. Just make sure that your money is fully covered under the thresholds that I mentioned previously, $250K, or in the case of SoFi, up to $3 million. And you do have to pay taxes, but it is very simple to file taxes with high yield savings accounts. You will get a 1099 INT form, and you can either give it to your accountant or you can just go ahead and file it yourself. It's very simple. So would I recommend it to my young self? Yes, if I'm looking for a basic checking and savings, cash signing bonus up to $325. If I want to do some basic investment, very easy. And also, most importantly, if I'm looking for a new banking hub, right? Like if I'm looking for a new place where I can put my hard-earned money, then yes, it's a good option. No, if I'm looking for a branch, a bank with branches, or maybe the highest APY available out there, or maybe if I don't want to have my direct deposit linked to this organization, if I just want to kind of like set it and forget it, and I don't want to have anything linked to it, then maybe this organization would not be for me. So personally, SoFi is a great choice for somebody who's looking for a new financial hub, looking for a nice starting bonus as long as you meet the requirements, and also for someone who wants to have everything in one place. Now, the estimated risk level. So I'm a project risk manager. That's exactly what I do for a living. And I decided to just give you something else that other channels don't give you, and that is risk level, right? So if you sign up with this organization, what's the probability that things will go sideways? And what will be the consequences? Would they be severe? So personally, I think it's low. It's a low risk level to sign up with this organization, which it means that all things considered, it's safe to start banking with them. Certainly, I do. And so that's been my experience and what I would tell to my younger self. So if SoFi is for you, there's going to be a link in the description where you can earn an extra $25. And make sure that you save up for your next trip and your financial goals. Make sure you go to Glacier National Park, as you can see here in the picture. Great place to go visit, and you can earn an extra $25. And make sure that you start saving and start earning the most out of your money. All right. So with that being said, thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.